What's up guys, so in this video we'll be looking at some of the accessories that I found to minimize the amount of things that I have to attach to the iPhone 15 Pro in order to carry out our daily vlogging. As we are nomadic couple, so we have found that having as minimalist a gear set as possible is very essential. All the accessories that we'll be mentioning, we have the links in the description below. Do note that most of them are Amazon affiliate links, so we do get a bit of commission if you do choose to purchase. As I'm filming this, it's actually August and the iPhone 16 Pro will be out the next month, right? So I think as Apple's camera and video quality improves, it really is a very good replacement for big bulky cameras. When we started this nomadic journey, I've decided just to use my iPhone for documenting the entire vlogging process. The reason being, I don't want to bring around like big bulky gear for the entirety of my trip, especially because I'm just bringing a small backpack. You can check out the video here on how we do our packing. One of the things that we don't want to do is we don't want to attach like a big bulky SSD just to, take videos and all that. So we have been on a search to look for the most minimalist setup possible, and we have looked through several YouTube videos like the small Samsung flash drive that you get, but we found that the write speed isn't fast enough and the frame rates will drop. So we have been on the lookout for sort of small thumb size SSDs, which we have found. So this is great, and this is actually the Transcend SSD. So we have been using this to really document everything, right? So something that we have done is always to attach this to the camera as we film, but at the same time, when we do this, there is always that risk of us bumping this and like chopping it, and then if this thing breaks, all the footage is gone, man. Good luck to us to retrieve all those. So something else that we have found to be very useful is actually this little USB adapter. So this is something that we also do, where we attach this U-shaped adapter and have it plugged here. And because I have a phone case on, this doesn't really dangle that much. It's almost stuck firmly towards the phone case, and that I found to be the perfect setup. So I think this is as minimalist as it gets, really, unless we have a phone case that has an integrated SD card perhaps. So when I bought this, I actually had it bought in two different lengths, one slightly shorter and another that's slightly longer, right? So the reason I bought two was because when I first bought this, I have a phone case on and I didn't know which one would fit better. So we just bought both just to test it out, and the short one actually works perfectly without much wiggle room over here. So it attaches quite firmly onto the back of the case, which is perfect for us. And as for the longer one, I just don't use it much. Just store it as a backup. Next up, we have the Holyland Lug M2. So this is our mic. So it actually comes with the receiver as well as two transmitters, one of which is I'm wearing, and the receiver is on Marilyn's phone. So it comes with some additional magnets. So how it works is that basically this thing attaches on by magnet. So let's see. Okay, so this thing it snaps on. So satisfying. Okay, then subsequently we also have the mufflers, which is actually quite a pain to put on. And it also has other attachment options like the clip, which is also magnetically attached, as well as a necklace, which is what we usually use because it's just very easy for us to just wear this and then we just snap it on whenever we need it. I won't go too deeply into the details of the mic, but if you want us to do a review on it, do let us know. And so the mic, I think the battery life is great. We haven't really run into the issue of it losing battery, etc. And as for audio recording, usually we have two phones with us. So one is my girlfriend's phone, which I'm filming on right now. As you can see, usually when the mic is attached, we don't really have an additional port to plug in the USB, so that's why we need two separate phones for that. As of now, we haven't really found a proper solution to have both the mic as well as the SSD attached, but perhaps in the near future someone will have it. Aside from that, another accessory that we have is the Ulanzi MT44 tripod stand. So we just bought this into our little collection of accessories, and we found it extremely useful so far. We have quite a standard ball head joint over here, lock and unlock, and at the bottom we have another knob for us to lock and unlock the tripod legs. So as you can see, there's a notch over here, so this is what you'd use to actually open up the tripod. The extension is actually through friction, so you can actually raise and lower it without the need to actually lock or unlock anything. So when fully extended, it reaches about a height of 1.3 meters. So before the Ulanzi, I actually had another tripod, which was a mini tripod stand by Moft, the invisible tripod stand. So this was actually a gift from my friend, and shout out, you know who you are. Yeah, I used to really love this. I mean, I still love it now. It's just that the sides and everything, it's coming off, but it's sonic welded, so yeah, it's kind of expected. So what's great about this is that we can lock. Yeah, you can open it up and it's very easy to use. It's everything magnetically attaches and it folds back down to very compact. But it has a bit of a heft to it. Like once you attach this, your phone will feel heavy. That's one thing to note. And when it comes to the stability, okay, because of how light it is, you know, you don't exactly get the most stable setup in the world, but it is what it is, and I think it's good enough for its purposes. I also use it sometimes as sort of like a little gimbal or something to vlog with, to hold it like that, and I find that pretty useful sometimes. I have my Blackmagic app set onto this button, the power action button, so that it's convenient for me to just go in and start shooting. Next up we have our settings, so let's go into record. So for codec, I have it set to Apple ProRes 422 LT. I found that it's the best balance between the quality of the video and the file size. So if you go down the list, H.264 is basically the most compressed with the lowest video quality, whereas ProRes 422 HQ is the highest quality, but you have to compromise on file size. So we went to the middle ground of 422 LT. So I've actually experimented between 422 and 422 LT, but I found that 422 LT, while the image quality may not be as good as 422, but honestly, the differences are hardly noticeable, at least for me. So yep. Okay, next up we have resolution. I film it in 4K, so I have the versatility to crop in if I want to, because usually I upload at 1440p. Yep. Next up, for color space, we have it in Apple Log HDR. So for Apple Log HDR, I think it gives more versatility for me to adjust the colors, so on and so forth. Okay, so for camera settings, I haven't really touched anything over here except for the shutter measurement. So we've set it to angle rather than speed. This is just so that we get that cinematic but very smooth motion blur. Then aside from that, I think, let me take a look. I don't think I've actually touched anything over here. Yep. Okay, and as for audio settings, usually if I have a wireless mic plugged in, then the audio would they would pop up over here as wireless microphone. But right now, as I'm recording on Marilyn's phone, as you can see, let me just show you guys. So yes, I'm recording on an iPhone as well. Okay, we don't have it plugged in. Okay, next up, monitor. Haven't changed anything here. Under media, usually, okay, if I have my SSD attached, then it would show up over here under files. LUTs, I have a LUT applied. Presets, nothing here, nothing here. Okay, basically there's nothing on the other settings. Last but not least, let's take a look at some of the camera settings I have. So for lens, usually I use the 0.5 to set context, 1 times to introduce the space, and times 2 and times 3 usually for the telescopic B-rolls, which I love to use. For FPS, usually I set it to 30, but if I see that the light is flickering, then I'll shift it down to 50. I have it at 30 just so that I can save on some file size. Yep. Shutter, usually it's at 180 degrees locked, unless the brightness condition outside doesn't allow me to. Okay, and then as for ISO, usually the max that I'll set it at is about 400 ISO. Anything higher, I find that it's too grainy for my own taste. Okay, white balance, I have it on auto. Tint, I have it on auto as well. Aside from that, I will usually have this 3x3 grid that you see on screen, just for me to align things up. Okay, next up, focus, I have it on auto. The rest, I don't really touch. Oh yes, then as for camera shake, I have it on extreme most of the time, all of the time actually. And that's about it. So what about the cons? So firstly, as I mentioned earlier, I think one of it is that for this particular setup, we haven't really found a way in which we can attach both the mic as well as the SSD to the camera, and we just use 2 iPhones as of now. Secondly, I think in order to make full use of that amazing camera, you will need a variable ND filter just to make sure that the dynamic range isn't thrown off when the light is too overexposed, when it's too bright outside, we do wish that we have a variable ND filter with us, just so that we can continue shooting at 180 degrees, buttery smooth, cinematic kind of footage. And lastly, I think another significant deal breaker is that by having your SSD attached, it actually drains battery even when it's not in use. So as an experiment, I have it attached on airplane mode with no other connections, so technically there shouldn't be anything else that's draining the battery, or at least draining it that fast. But when I woke up in the morning, as you can see, there is quite a bit of significant drainage from the SSD. So yes, it will act like a little vampire when it's attached and not in use. That's it guys, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and check out our vlogs here to see the performance of the iPhone 15 Pro in action. Cheers!